The city was barely awake when the doors of Adebayo Corporate Tower slid open, letting in a faint breeze of early morning Lagos heat. Inside, executives hurried past polished glass walls, too busy chasing power to notice the older man shuffling across the lobby with a mop in hand. His clothes were faded, his steps slow, but behind the disguise stood Chief Thomas Adebayo, a billionaire searching for something no amount of wealth could buy, a woman worthy of his only son. Jessica spotted him first. "Seriously? Who let this relic walk in?" she said, her laugh slicing through the quiet floor. Becky smirked beside her. "Maybe he thinks he works here." The old man kept his eyes low, masking the authority that had once made entire boardrooms fall silent. He wasn't here to be respected. He was here to watch, carefully, quietly, and see who among them had a heart untouched by greed. Then Sarah rose from her desk. "Ma'am, that's enough," she said, stepping closer, her voice steady despite the tension tightening around her. For the first time, Chief Thomas looked directly at her, studying, weighing, realizing the test he came for had just begun. What happens next will expose every truth they tried to hide. Like the video and subscribe to Canada's Heartfelt Tales for more powerful stories. The moment Sarah stepped between the old cleaner and the mocking laughter, the entire tone of the office shifted. The fluorescent lights hummed above them, cold and unforgiving, casting long shadows across the polished floor. Jessica stood with her arms crossed, chin lifted, smirk sharp enough to cut glass. She wasn't used to anyone challenging her, certainly not a junior staff member with sensible shoes and a salary barely covering rent. But Sarah didn't move. Her voice didn't shake when she spoke again. "Please stop talking to him like that." Jessica laughed. "You must be new to this floor. People know their place here. And he," she jabbed her finger toward the old man, "is way below ours." Chief Thomas lowered his gaze, but inside, the disguise couldn't muffle the outrage rising in his chest. He had built this company from nothing. He had hired brilliant minds, raised leaders, offered scholarships, lifted families. And now he watched two young women in designer heels throw away every lesson his life had taught him. But Sarah, she was different. There was something calm and grounded in the way she stood, a warmth that didn't come from ambition or performance. It was real, and he needed real. He kept mopping, slow and steady, letting the moment pass while storing every detail for the test ahead. Later that morning, as staff prepared for the arrival of the new CEO, his son Daniel, the tension in the air thickened. Gossip floated through the elevator halls. "He's young but strict. I heard he doesn't tolerate disrespect." "I hope he's handsome," Jessica whispered, fixing her lipstick in her compact mirror. Chief Thomas heard every word as he wheeled his bucket past them. When Daniel finally walked through the lobby, tall and sharply dressed, the atmosphere snapped into place. Voices softened. Doors opened for him before he touched them. Even the security guards straightened their posture. Daniel greeted each person with a nod, polite but formal. He had learned discipline abroad, but his heart never left the values his parents taught him. Then he saw the old cleaner hunched over a mop. "Sir," Daniel said, stepping forward, "this doesn't look like your job. Where's the janitorial team?" The entire office froze. Jessica's jaw fell open. She scrambled to explain. "He's fine. He's just a cleaner. No need to worry." Daniel's eyes sharpened. Everyone deserves respect. It was only then he noticed Sarah standing nearby, quietly observing everything. Their eyes met for a second, just long enough for Daniel to see the steadiness in her expression. She wasn't performing. She wasn't pretending. She was simply decent. That alone made her stand out. The following day, Chief Thomas intensified his test. He accidentally spilled a full bucket of water in the hallway, collapsed to the floor and groaned. The water soaked through his shirt, chilling him to the bone as he waited. Jessica turned the corner first. "Oh look," she said. "He's drowning the building now." Becky snickered. "Do we call maintenance for maintenance?" "Please," Chief Thomas whispered. "Help me get up." Jessica waved her freshly manicured hand dismissively. That's not my job. Some of us have real work to do. But Sarah rushed toward him before he finished speaking. Here, Papa, she said softly, lifting him by the arm. Jessica scoffed. You're unbelievable. Cleaning up after your friend again. Sarah ignored her. Soaked knees pressed against the floor as she wiped up the mess. Chief Thomas watched every movement. Her careful hands, her patience, the absence of hesitation. This was the woman he had hoped existed. But good hearts attract trouble. And Jessica was far from done. A day later, after Daniel spoke kindly to Sarah in the hallway, jealousy replaced logic in Jessica's mind. She tracked Sarah's lunch break, cornering her behind the office cafeteria where the air smelled of fried rice and air conditioning units. You listen to me, Jessica hissed. Stay away from Daniel. Sarah blinked. I'm not. But Jessica shoved an envelope into her hands. Take the money. Doesn't disappear. Don't embarrass yourself. The bills were crisp. Enough to pay rent for months. Enough to make someone desperate give in. But Sarah slowly pushed it back. I won't take part in whatever this is. Jessica's face twisted. She wasn't just angry, she was insulted. You'll regret this. I promise you will. And she made good on that promise quickly. The next morning, the office erupted in laughter as an edited voice note circulated through the building. In it, Sarah sounded arrogant, delusional, bragging that Daniel would soon chase her. She's so fake, one coworker muttered. Just another gold digger, another agreed. Sarah stood in the center of the chaos, cheeks burning, breath trembling, unable to defend herself. Daniel saw the crowd and stepped in. What's happening? Jessica smiled sweetly. Just some fun, sir. Don't worry. Daniel's expression hardened. Jessica. My office. Now. For the first time, fear flashed across her face. But the damage was already done. By afternoon, HR summoned Sarah. Your behavior has caused disruptions. We're terminating your employment. Sarah's world narrowed into a single trembling inhale. I didn't do anything wrong, she whispered. It's decided, the manager replied. Security will escort you out. She left carrying a cardboard box of her belongings, each step heavier than the last. But the real weight pressing on her chest was the humiliation. Dozens of eyes watching, whispering, judging. Chief Thomas caught up to her at the exit. My daughter, he said, voice breaking. You didn't deserve this. Sarah swallowed hard, fighting tears. Why does it always happen to people who don't fight back? Before he could respond, Jessica walked by with exaggerated pity. Oh dear, she said. Maybe next time you'll learn not to compete above your level. Sarah said nothing, her silence stronger than any argument. But Chief Thomas's hands curled into fists. That evening, Jessica's gloating escalated. She had forged new documents, framed Sarah further, and by nightfall, police knocked on Sarah's door again. You're under arrest for company fraud. Sarah collapsed into their hands, shaking, pleading, but they didn't listen. Neighbors stared as the police car drove her away. Hours later, in the cold, metallic echo of the holding cell, the sound of footsteps approached. The door opened, and standing there wasn't the cleaner. It was Chief Thomas, dressed in fine agbada, gold accents gleaming under the hallway lights. Sarah's voice cracked. Papa. He nodded gently. My name is Chief Thomas Adebayo. I am the owner of the company. And you did nothing wrong. Her legs nearly buckled, but he caught her arm. You were tested by the darkest sides of others, he said softly. But your heart stayed clean. When Daniel arrived moments later, his voice carried both apology and remorse. I should have protected you sooner, he whispered. I was wrong to doubt you. Chief Thomas placed a hand on his son's shoulder. You see now why I needed this test. Daniel nodded. Yes. And she passed every part of it. From there, the truth unraveled quickly. Mr. Belogon, the IT specialist, recovered deleted footage that revealed Jessica tampering with evidence. He traced false bank transfers back to her device, uncovered forged signatures, and exposed her edited voice notes. Everything pointed to one name: Jessica Miller. The next morning, as the company gathered for an emergency meeting, Jessica strutted into the boardroom, unaware of the storm awaiting her. Daniel stood at the front, shoulders squared. "We have discovered the source of the fraud," he announced. Jessica smiled, ready to watch Sarah crumble again. Then Daniel lifted the screen, and her entire world collapsed. Her own face stared back at her through CCTV footage, sneaking into the finance office, plugging in a USB drive, whispering threats under her breath as she drafted forged documents. Gasps rippled across the room. Jessica's voice cracked. This is edited." "No," Daniel interrupted. "You edited the audio. You framed an innocent woman. And you nearly destroyed our company's integrity." Security stepped inside. Jessica stumbled backward. "Daniel, wait, we can talk." Chief Thomas entered behind them, voice calm and final. "There is nothing left to discuss." Jessica was escorted out of the building in front of everyone, heels slipping on the marble floor she once owned with arrogance. No one defended her. No one pitied her. Every whisper she had once planted now turned against her. Sarah watched quietly from the back of the room, heart pounding, not with fear but closure. But the story didn't end there. Not yet. Because the moment Jessica reached the lobby, she saw the man she had mocked and insulted. The cleaner. But this time he stood tall, gaze steady, dressed like the billionaire he truly was. Jessica froze. Chief Thomas looked at her without anger. Only truth. "You tried to ruin a life because you believed power gave you the right," he said. "Today you learn what real power looks like." And as security pulled her toward the exit, her facade finally cracked. The arrogance vanished. The superiority shattered. And the woman who thought she ruled the building walked out alone. The entire company watched in silence, a silence filled with satisfaction. In the days that followed Jessica's removal, the company felt different, quieter, steadier, almost lighter. People no longer whispered behind screens. They lifted their heads, choosing respect over rivalry. And in that new calm, Sarah slowly rebuilt the confidence she thought she had lost forever. She didn't forget what she endured, but she no longer carried the weight alone. Daniel stood beside her through every meeting, clearing her name, and Chief Thomas guided her with a quiet pride he no longer had to hide. What surprised her most wasn't the apology of co-workers, but the way her own strength surfaced once the storms passed. She realized she had survived not because the world was kind, but because her heart never stopped choosing kindness, even when it cost her everything. One afternoon, as sunlight spilled across the garden outside the headquarters, Sarah paused near the stone fountain. Its water moved calmly again, undisturbed, a reminder that chaos doesn't last forever. Daniel joined her, their hands brushing lightly, and for the first time, she allowed herself to imagine a future shaped not by fear, but by truth. Behind them, Chief Thomas watched with a soft smile, the smile of a man who finally saw hope where he once feared deceit. If this story touched you, please like, share, and subscribe to Canada's Heartfelt Tales so we can continue bringing you meaningful stories